Welcome to Christ General International Gospel Ministry.
Today's devotion by Reverend Winfred, Lomotey, Nartey-Graham, 3rd June 2024. The consequences of disobedience and generational curses, part 10. Read Leviticus chapter 20, verses 6 to 27. Many still believed that Saul spoke audibly with Samuel. That is a wrong mindset and perception. Familiar spirits have authority when invited into action to invoke the spirit of the dead. This carries conditionality that needs to be fulfilled. Failure leads to distraction, which will affect the family or families, their children and their children's children. If really Samuel spoke to Saul, I want to ask a question. Why were the great men of God in the Bible, like the major prophets, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, and the minor prophets, Hosea, Joel, Amos, Obadiah, Jonah, Micah, and many more, not invoked by the familiar spirit in their time of death? God breathed the breath of life into mankind, and when the breath departs, it confirms that the person is dead and cannot do anything again. How can he or she speak? Jesus Christ himself has nothing doing with the dead. He never confirmed Lazarus dead. He said he was asleep. John chapter 11 verse 11. Jesus Christ himself never gave out any legal ground by pronouncing death on Lazarus. There is a difference between being asleep and dead. From the viewpoint of others, Lazarus was dead, but to Jesus, he was just asleep. Jesus waited for 2 more days. If Jesus had been with Lazarus whilst he was still sick, he would have healed him because of the pleas of his friends and family. Lazarus coming back to life was a testimony to the glory of God as revealed through Jesus Christ. The reason why some of us are finding it very difficult to get closer to God is because of our traditional laws made by men and neglecting the presence of God. This usually happens when somebody dies. Religious and traditional family leaders give more concern and priority to the dead more than the living. A dead person cannot listen to your report as well as your cry or wailing. Though it can be a very painful experience, but the dead will never hear you speak or cry. A living person can hear and respond to you, but a dead person has nothing to offer or say. You must know the devil is a timer and he is listening to whatever you are saying, and your words will open negative doors for the devil to take over and destroy you. Words are spirit. A dead person cannot interfere in your matters because he or she is returning back to the soil according to God's law. Genesis chapter 3 verse 19. Those who talk to the dead are disobeying the law of God because they have separated themselves from God and talking to the dead, which is evil. You must know you are sending the familiar spirit in your generational curse line to renew a covenant on your behalf, which is tantamount to spell. We spend huge sums of money on the dead. Some go in for loans, whilst some sell off their properties to honor the dead. We have been bound for years by the devil, and we are fulfilling his negative promises, thinking it will be well with us after burying the dead in a grand style. Many are in the severity of suffering because they have employed the service of the devil. Some have even died after consulting the devil. Some are also miserable and depressed in life. They at times have frightening and terrifying dreams, and this infuse fear into them. They hardly have sound sleep. They become so disturbed and worried. There will be intensity of punishments from God to those who are involved in these negative acts. God has given us the responsibility to serve him only, but we have chosen the negative way to serve the devil. Be sure your attitude towards God is correct, not just your outward actions. Amen. To be continued. Prayer point. Pray against any demonic attack from your family.